Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Show Me How It's Done. I hope that you've all enjoyed your weekend and that you're ready for another week of crafting and work and life. But here's a little brain break for you. If you're able to join us live, that's awesome. And if not, that's okay. This recording will be available for you to watch another time. So what I wanted to share with you today is a new little stamp set and a new little punch that I got to play with at my virtual onstage event the other day. But I also wanted to showcase things that I often get asked about called our Sponge Brayers. So these are super affordable tools in our catalog. If you are a catalog person, they are on page 147 of the catalog, and I just wanted to show you that they are kind of hidden here. So it's this one right here, these Sponge Brayers, and they're only $11. You get 2 handles and 4 of the little sponges, but these sponges are perfect because you can just rinse them out and use them for another project. Just a tip though, when you rinse them, you do need to let them dry, so you can't just automatically use them on another project. So make sure it's at the end of your project session, and you can also just layer colors on top of one another. So I have these 2 in my hands simply because this one here is what I'm using today for my yellow, but at one point I used it just for a light blush blossom. And then I ended up just being able to brayer over top of it with the yellow because there was a little pink left in it, but I quickly wanted to switch over to yellow and it didn't affect my ink pad at all. So just a couple tips for you. You can always go from light to dark and just use your ink pads one after another. But when you're using multiple colors and different shades and stuff, go ahead and wash those out and give them a chance to dry, okay? So I'm going to switch you to my desktop screen here. I'm going to turn on my camera because I want to be able to show you what I'm working on. So before I do that though, I've had a few people wondering if they could see some sneak peeks of projects that we had made at the convention. And I didn't have a chance to show you these live. I did post some pictures, but I thought this was a great time because I'm showing you the Dragonfly Garden bundle. So at our conference, we were able to pre-order this bundle and we were able to follow along with some make and takes. So using the same paper measurements, Stampin' Up! Guided us through making 3 different cards. So they instructed us to cut out some papers and showed us 3 different ways to be able to assemble them. So I'm not expecting you guys to be attempting these right now. They're just for a little inspiration of something else that you can use this bundle for. Now, lots of you are going to be asking me right away, how can I get that? Most of the time I show you things you can just order from my site. However, this bundle is not available until January 5th. If you are a demonstrator, you do get to pre-order it starting December 1st. So if you want information on how to become a demo, feel free to ask me. If you're on my team already, I hope you have that date marked in your calendars because that is the day we are able to start purchasing from the new spring mini catalog. Okay, so here's the 3 kind of schemes that we were given to use the Dragonfly Garden bundle. And I want to show you what we're doing today. All right, so this is a very simple card because I want you to be able to feel confident in your crafting, and many of you will probably have these materials handy. If you don't have the brushes, you could also use the sponges or something similar to this effect, okay? So we're just gonna use a piece of Whisper White cardstock. I have cut it at 8.5 by 5.5, and you put a score line down the middle at 4 1/4. Go ahead and fold that card in half. If you have something nice and solid like your bone folder, go ahead and run it along the spine. If not, you can just use your nail or even a block, okay? So to start with, I have chosen 3 colors of ink here. So I have Coastal Cabana, So Saffron, and Melon Mambo. And these are the 3 colors that I'm going to show you how to make some cards with today. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to use is this little cluster of butterflies from the stamp set. Okay, so in the bottom left-hand corner, I'm going to start with my So Saffron, and I'm going to just bring up a little spray of butterflies coming out of there. Okay, here we go. Now you can stamp off if you want. Just make sure you get all the ink off, because I'm never somebody who likes to get ink crossing over. The other thing that you could do is you can get our Simply Chamois, and this guy was purple once upon a time, and it looks super ugly and stained, but there is no ink transfer. Okay, so I've rinsed this out just with cold water, and it will quickly and simply clean my stamp set off for me. All right, then I'm going to use my Melon Mambo, and I'm going to just continue up the center of my cards. I'm not worrying about the corners here. I'm just worrying about this spray in the middle here. Okay, so again, I like to stamp off before I clean, just because it's less ink in my little pad here. Honestly, they should have been black, because my OCD is quite sad that it's colored, but it's okay, it'll still work. Last color is Coastal Cabana. Stamp, stamp, stamp. And the nice thing about this project card is you can do it with anything you own. You don't have to have the Dragonfly garden bundle. You can do it with anything else, just as long as you use, 3 different colors going up your card. Okay, so you can clean that now and put it aside, that stamp set, and you shouldn't need your chamois anymore for the moment. Okay, so what I wanted to show you was using the Brayers, but I'm going to show you a few stepped up versions of a card too. Okay, so to decorate, I'm going to grab my little Dragonfly with the solid body. You can see there's one with a solid body and one with one that you would almost just color in yourself. I hope you guys are like me and you keep a bin of your scraps. Never throw away white, ivory, black scraps, because you're always going to use them. So I just used some of our old clamshell cases. If you don't have these, grab any sort of container from the dollar store, and you can use that for your scraps. But they really come in handy when you need to make one of these little guys. Okay, so we've got our little Dragonfly. I'm inking him up with my Memento Black Ink, and I'm just going to stamp this straight on here, like so. Now I'm going to add some wings to him. So you'll notice in our stamp set there is only one set of wings, and this is going to be a question many of you have. There's 2 sides of a wing. What do I do? So you'll see that one side fits quite nicely on the right hand. I'm going to ink it up with my Coastal Cabana here. Fits really nicely, but it does spray outside the lines, and that's the intent. The intent is that it almost gives just a splattering look on your Dragonfly. So now, instead of having it face the right-hand side, you're going to flip this around like so, ink it up, and it won't be perfect, but it will rest within the lines also if you do this, okay? And then our punches, just a hint if you don't know our punches, this little tab at the bottom opens it up. You can feed your paper in through the top, okay? And we're going to just punch out a little Dragonfly here, like so. You do get a bonus little white one that you could always do something with as well. And then put a couple dimensionals on the back of this guy. Okay, now if I was to do this, it's really cute. I could also maybe add a sentiment. Let's see what this looks like. So I'm going to add the "You are an inspiration" sentiment with the black right up in the top here. Okay, like so. Now, this is a really cute card. I could just leave my card like this and we could be quite happy. So this is card number 1 in my series of this stepped up card. It's a really cute card. You can easily mass produce it. You could do your Dragonflies in all different colors and it would be great. A little hint, if you wanted your dragonfly's wings to be coming off the page a little bit, just take your bone folder and bend his wing edges teeny tiny bit, okay? So now I purposely haven't added this guy to the card because I gave away what we're doing next. We're going to bring in our brayers, and we're going to do something that builds a little color in the background of this card, okay? So this is card number 1 in my sample. Let's get a little inky, okay? So like I mentioned, there are 4 rollers in the set, but only 2 handles. So we're gonna start using the 2 handles, and then we'll just switch out one of the rollers. So I'm gonna start again with the same color that I did in each of the layers of butterflies. So we're starting with So Saffron. Make sure when you're inking up your roller, you're going one direction on the ink pad. If you go back and forth, you are only inking up the bottom half of your sponge. So go all the way across your ink pad multiple times, okay? Now, when you're going across your card, you want to do the same thing. You go in one fluid motion from right to left or left to right, but don't go back and forth on the card. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with some dark and light splotches, which is a whole nother technique. You could do it if you want some shadowy effects, but for our purposes, we just want a nice layer of even colors along this bottom right here, okay? So you can make this as light or dark as you want. You could also leave some white space down here and build your yellow up. So perhaps I wanted a little bit darker of yellow near the top here in this section, and my lighter yellow near the bottom of the card. I'm going to take this off by just pulling the little black piece out of, you can see a little plastic center in there, okay? And then to attach my blue one, put it in the spoke, and then open this guy wide and fit it in there, okay? But we're going to go to Melon Mambo next. So rolling all the same direction. And now we're going in the center of the card. You can completely keep your colors separate if you want, or if you slightly overlap your colors, you'll end up with 5 colors on your card front instead of just the 3 that we started with. Because these are mostly, like this is pink, but technically it will mix very similar to a red. These are very primary colors, so I can go from making yellow to a almost orange looking card, and once I add this one, it'll be purple. Okay, so it's very, very fun to be able to play with some of the moods in your card. This would be a great sunset look, to be honest, okay? But we're gonna keep going and add the Coastal Cabana to the very top of this. I've done these a few times, so I should probably re-ink my pads, but we'll get there. You can see it's very satisfying just to watch that color come out in your project. Okay. All right, so there we go. There is my Sponge Brayer card that I would, of course, take my little dragonfly now and attach him to. Okay, so I'm gonna close my ink pads, and then we're gonna get a little more in depth if you're wanting to go further. So my intention with these videos to start is just to introduce you to some simple stamping techniques or show you how things are done. This one is intended just to give you a little usage of your Sponge Brayers or a card that you can use just in a mass production scenario. Now, I do want to also show you 2 other cards in this series, because who knows, maybe you are feeling adventurous and you would like to add a little bit of color to your card base. So this is not hard to do. I have, instead of cutting the Whisper White background, I've cut the white at 3 3/4 by 5 inches, And then I go up by a 1/4 inch for each layer, if that makes sense. So my background for the black would be 4 inches by 5 1/4. And sorry, did I say this was 5? That's correct, not 5 1/4. So the black is 5 1/4 and the top of it is 4. And then it would have a Coastal Cabana card base. I've cut this one a little differently, but you could certainly open it the exact same way. Okay, so these are both card bases of the same size, but this Coastal Cabana I ended up cutting at 4 1/4 by 11, and I put my score mark at 5 1/2. Okay, so here is 3 versions now. We're doing that same technique in this card to get that look. We're gonna get even crazier. We're gonna go with 4, okay? So here's your 4th option. If you were to do these in order, you can see the progression of how we built to get to this guy here, okay? So in this card, I chose to do my butterfly wings in the 3 colors of their backgrounds. So you would have to bring back your chamois and color or clean those colors in between. And then as an addition, I just added some rhinestones as well. These are champagne rhinestones. And same measurements for the card bases as card number 3, but the only changes were 3 dragonflies and some rhinestones to this one. Okay, so a really, really fun progression. When you guys are able to, you can use your Dragonfly garden, but we do have some great stamp sets out there that you could use. I know we have tons of butterflies. You could even do this with flowers. You could do just a cluster of flowers going through the middle of your page, and then maybe one large flower down in the bottom corner, or a few of them all over a card. So I hope you guys enjoyed this project, and that if you own these little guys, you're gonna dig them out and actually use them, because they are just amazing and a super fun way to add a little effect to your background. So on another video, we will play with these in some masking techniques and some vellum, but I have those planned for later. So today, I hope you enjoyed episode 2 of Show Me How It's Done, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!